The mind is just a tool, a simple tool to assist the body in managing what it appears to think is a life. Now, the mind doesn't think it's a life. That what we are has some sort of need. That this consciousness has some sort of need to experience what we are as consciousness. So it dreams itself into a life. So we're dreaming ourselves into the life. So the life itself is a dream. You see, the living of life is a dream. Life itself is reality, is truth, is consciousness in its purest state. When we think ourselves as living, as an individual living, we need some sort of help. You know, we've got this "please help me" tag. This body says, "Please help me." Everybody says, "Please help me." So consciousness yourself creates something to help you manage through this experience of living a life. So the mind is only here to manage. It's only here to make sure that it's a kind of smooth road. It's not a rocky road. But the unfortunate thing is, through nature, through what you would call the male side of consciousness. Consciousness is feminine, moving, essential, loving, beingness, here-ness, now-ness. The male side has constructed some sort of universal way, this planetary formation. And through nature, it, with no intent, is unable to maintain that smooth way. Scientists, this is a science side. They understand the different qualities of energies and forces and, reactive and what they call dangerous to life. Some planets are dangerous to life. If we went out to space without some oxygen, it would be dangerous to our body. We would just instantly die through no oxygen. So we have to come up against this what we call unnatural forces. And that's what the mind is here to protect us from. But throughout the centuries, so many beings has been confronted with natural forces and survived. And it's the telling of the tale that creates a malfunctioning mind, because the tale is, it was like this, you see. This meteorite, it exploded, and all the fragments missed me by this much. And I'm so happy to be alive. I'm going to write some book about it and write a tale about it and tell people what it is. And science can examine it and how did it happen and where did it come from and why was I saved and who saved me. And the mind, it follows suit. And so the simple mind is listening to this incredible escape. I want to experience some of that. I want to survive. but I'd like to experience some of that. So the mind cannot invent natural experiences, natural occurrences of the universe and the planetary system and the energies and the forces. So it makes up dramatic stories about what you can encounter. And that's what we do now. We want stories to encounter. And they're much more safer stories because most of them are imagination. Most of them are dreamlike. Most of them are fantastical. So we live out the life through the stories about what could be after death. God, being eaten by a lion. I was dreaming in my deep sleep. Someone says I was being eaten by a lion. I said, how was it? It was only a dream, you see. That's the answer. It was only a dream. But I'm really frightened of lions now. I don't go near them. So the mind is doing its job. The mind is raising the drama. You watch, in a more light-hearted way. I was speaking to a counsellor, not about myself or anything, just a general chat, and the counsellor was saying, this counsellor was also a hairdresser, 2 jobs, you see. The counsellor says, I get more patients through the hairdressing than I do in my counselling. They don't know they are my patients, and I don't treat them like my patients, and I just listen. And it's amazing the drama that they live for. The drama of the stories, the excitement, the adrenaline. And sometimes it's desperate drama, and sometimes it's suffering drama. But I can tell they like it. Deep down inside in their egoistic self, something drives them to continue to want more drama. She says that's why these soap operas are on television. She says I don't watch them, but one of the customers was saying, in one soap, I won't name the British soap, but in one soap, in the entirety of its existence, 40 people have died in the same street, not natural death, murder, natural accidents, or unnatural accidents, or in the same street, and there's only 20 houses on the street, 40 murders, 40, and that's just the murders, you see. And it's like, so every night some soap says here's some really exciting drama, and everyone watches intensely, and that's their fulfillment from mind, and mind feels satisfied, you see. If there's this feeling of satisfaction through some sort of good or bad experience, it's the mind saying, yes, I was there for you. I was there for you, see. And we interpret it. The mind interprets it in a very personal way. So it doesn't say my mind doesn't say to me, I was there for you. The mind interprets this for me to say, I'm glad I was there. I am glad I was there. See? So that it gives you the personal, it doesn't want to take the responsibility. When enlightenment comes and you see through this mind, and this mind runs for its life. I didn't want that, says the mind. I didn't want you to find out that I was putting the blame on you see. But it's looking in a mirror. You see, the mind is that one that talks to itself. Like this is the mind talking to itself in a device. I'm talking to myself. But mind is replicating the bigger picture, you see. When I talk to another human, I'm talking to myself. When I'm talking to the clouds, I'm talking to myself. When I'm talking to the trees, I'm talking to myself. Because there's only one self. But it doesn't mean to say everyone has to listen to me. That's the ego. There's no one talking and there's no one listening, meaning individual, the name. The body appears to be talking to itself, but there's nothing taking place. There's nothing happening. Because the one that is experiencing this non-duality is the dream. You see, it's the dream of consciousness. You see, that's why we like to be personal and form-based, because we believe we are the reality from the dream. And that's much more able to live with than dreaming around, walking in a slumber dreamland, like the monks and the nuns, just participating in the flow of life. That's not exciting for the reality mind. The reality mind wants to be alive. But the reality mind knows that it's going to die. Because the reality is inconsistent, you see. Is it not? Truth is inconsistent. The mind is inconsistent. Thoughts are inconsistent. The dream is consistent. It's always here, always now. It's beautiful, it's profound. Without the drama, without the understanding about what the speaker is speaking about, life is truly a blessing. In whatever way it is, life as form, lifeless, mindful, mindless, man, woman, a good life, a bad life. Life is the primarily predominant factor. The dream of life is pure, it's liberating, it's free. And it's an opposite of what the enlightened speaker says. Find the truth. You see, that's the truth. Truth is not reality or non-reality or a dream. Truth is finding out what is taking place. Reality is the ego. Reality is the mind. Reality is the drama. Reality is birth and death of the body. The dream is much more fluent, much more ongoing, much more able to live with. Very easy to live with a dream at night, is it? You wake up like the guy with the lion. I was being eaten by a lion, but look at me, I'm okay. Thank God it was only a dream. In reality, we believe when a lion comes and eats us up, it's end of the dream, end of the real situation, and back into the dream of consciousness. Consciousness can only dream about what it is. It can only imagine what it is. It can only think about what it is. It's so vast. So I don't know what I am. I am consciousness, vast, and a dream. And I have adopted this body to live and try and create a real situation out of the dream. But when you do that, you create all parts of the dream that the ego creates: birth, suffering, pain, pleasure, death. So you try and just escape reality. And that's why the enlightened has said, oh, does it real? Everyone says, does it really live like a normal person, Sits about meditating under a tree like it's some sort of special breed, Gets people to run after them, sits in a satsang hall, guru, all that stuff. Doesn't have to do a real job like me, live a real life like me. Yeah, Which one do you want? This is choice, you see. You cannot escape the dream, but you can escape reality. Who wants to escape reality? Who wants to understand the truth? That's the only thing we're here to understand is the truth.